Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
This is actually our 10th Deep Dive exploring this whole fascinating world of digital diaspora.
That's right, number 10.
And today, we're really zooming in, focusing on a specific area, digital marketing in Sudan. It's incredibly dynamic, often, I think, misunderstood.
Definitely. It operates under very different rules than what most marketers are used to.
Exactly. So our mission today is really to unpack how businesses, big and small, are navigating this landscape, and not just navigating, but actually thriving, especially in a place where, well, traditional paid ads just aren't the main way things get done.
It forces a lot of innovation, actually. Innovation under constraint.
It really does. And I think it's going to offer some surprising insights relevant for almost anyone in marketing or business today.
I agree.
Okay, so let's dive in. When you think digital marketing, your mind probably jumps straight to, Google ads, Facebook promotions.
Targeted campaigns, big data.
Right, all powered by potentially big budgets. But what happens when those tools, the ones we sort of see as essential pillars globally, what happens when they're effectively off the table?
Yeah, it's fascinating because in Sudan, a lot of those mainstream digital advertising tools that marketers, everywhere else rely on, they just don't work.
Just blocked.
Often blocked, yeah. We're talking pay-per-click on Google, paid promotions on Facebook, Instagram. It's not just a small problem. It's like fundamental.
Why is that? What's behind it?
It's really a mix of things. International sanctions play a role, platform restrictions themselves, and critically, major limitations in the local online payment infrastructure.
The payment side.
Exactly. Think about it, many small or medium businesses, they just don't have easy access to international payment gateways. Or they might struggle to even register for things like Facebook Business Manager or Google Ads because of currency hurdles or verification processes.
Wow.
So it forces this complete rethinking of what digital marketing even means in that context.
So, okay, if those usual rights are closed off, what does that actually mean for businesses trying to operate? I mean, they can't just pack up and go home, right?
Right away.
How do they even start to connect with customers online without the standard playbook?
Well, exactly. And this is where you see just incredible adaptability, real ingenuity from Sudanese businesses.
Okay.
Instead of just giving up on digital, they've blended their traditional offline hustle, which is often very strong,
Right.
with incredibly creative, community-driven online strategies.
Community-driven. How does that look in practice?
So for the smaller businesses, entrepreneurs, maybe women-led ventures in fashion or skincare or handmade goods, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You find these entire thriving ecosystems built right inside Facebook groups.
Facebook groups, like just regular groups.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
But they function almost like online souks, traditional markets.
Okay.
People post products, they comment, they tag friends, they ask questions, they buy. It's all driven by pure community interaction. There are no ads pushing stuff. It's organic, built on trust.
That's amazing. So word of mouth, but digital.
Exactly. And WhatsApp business is also absolutely essential. Huge.
How are they using that?
Heavily. For sharing product catalogs, setting up automated replies for common questions, carefully managing customer lists for promotions or updates. Some even use Telegram, especially in cities like Khartoum, for niche audiences, local commerce, tech reselling sometimes.
So communication platforms turned into sales engines.
Precisely. Repurposed for commerce.
That's a really powerful picture of grassroots digital commerce built on connection. But what about the bigger players, the large companies, established brands, the ones with actual budgets? Do they also lean on these community methods, or is their approach different?
They absolutely use aspects of it, but they layer it. So the larger brands think telecom companies, banks, FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods.
Yeah, the big names.
They still invest heavily in traditional advertising. You'll see the massive billboards on main roads, the primetime TV ads during popular drama series, radio spots.
The usual suspects.
Right. But, and this is where it gets really interesting, they don't stop there. They get the digital side. So they produce a high volume of original, organic digital content.
Like what?
Videos, catchy graphics, interviews, motion ads, good quality stuff. And then strategically, they get popular pages, maybe news pages, big meme pages with huge followings, even local influencers to share it for them.
So like influencer marketing, but maybe less formal?
Often, yes. It might not involve the formal contracts you see elsewhere. It relies more on relationships, maybe mutual benefit, networks of reposting loops, and coordinated sharing campaigns to just maximize reach.
Clever.
Very. And they use tactics like giveaways, tag a friend to win campaigns. And they're really good at jumping on cultural memes and trends to go viral, especially around holidays or big social moments.
So it's about being culturally plugged in, using the network.
Exactly. Building organic virality, even if they seeded it initially.
It sounds like this very personalized, relationship-first approach to getting content out there, almost like digital word of mouth, but scaled up.
That's a good way to put it.
Now, you mentioned earlier there's an area that's like largely ignored, but holds potentially immense value, untapped potential. What was that?
Right. This brings up a really important point. Search engine optimization, SEO.
SEO. Okay.
Almost no businesses in Sudan seem to be focusing on it. There's this belief, I think, that SEO is only for, big global brands or companies selling internationally.
Or that it's too technical, maybe?
That too. And the reality is very few local businesses even have proper websites to optimize in the first place.
Oh, right. They're on social media mostly.
Almost entirely, yeah. Relying on their Facebook pages, Instagram profiles. So the whole concept of Arabic SEO specifically, it's incredibly underdeveloped locally, minimal keyword targeting, hardly any local business listings online.
So if it's so underutilized,
Right.
what's the actual opportunity here for a local business? Is it really that big a deal?
It's not just big, it's potentially colossal. A huge first mover advantage.
How so?
Well, think about it. If you're one of the very few local brands actually optimizing your content for relevant Arabic keywords or even English ones related to what you sell, you could potentially dominate the Google search results for those terms without spending a single dollar on paid ads.
Free traffic, basically.
Free, consistent, high-intent traffic coming straight to you. And it doesn't even have to be super complicated. Even simple optimizations, like making sure your Instagram captions use relevant words, making your WhatsApp business description clear and searchable, filling out your Facebook bio properly.
Those little things add up.
They can make a real difference. It offers free, long-term visibility. It builds value over time.
Yeah.
And don't forget video YouTube SEO. For searchable, helpful video content, another untapped goldmine there. Reaching people, actively looking for solutions.
It really sounds like a wide open frontier then, digitally speaking.
It absolutely is in that specific area.
It's like watching a whole new marketing playbook being written in real time. We've talked about these really ingenious strategies, but to get the full picture, we need to understand the context, right? The digital canvas itself.
Definitely.
What's the underlying infrastructure like in Sudan? And what do the numbers, population, connectivity, who's online tell us about the landscape marketers are working in?
Yeah, that context is critical. And the data paints a really dynamic, fast-changing picture. So as of early 2025, Sudan's population was around 50.8 million.
Right.
Growing steadily, about 1.6% up from 2024. But here's a key point. A significant chunk, 63%, live in rural areas. Only 37% are in urban centers.
That rural-urban split is huge. Big implications for access.
Massive. And the population is young. Median age is just 18.5 years.
Yeah.
Back in 2022, over 70% were between 13 and 54. So you've got this large, young potential base for mobile and internet use.
Ready for digital, essentially.
Potentially, yes. Now, looking at connectivity in early 2025, there were about 21.6 million cellular mobile connections. That's roughly 42.4% of the population.
Okay, decent mobile penetration.
Yes, but a couple of caveats. Some of those might be voice SMS only, not full internet. And interestingly, the number of mobile connections actually decreased by over 5.6 million. That's like 20% between early 2024 and 2025.
Wow, decreased. Why would that happen?
Could be various factors, economic shifts, maybe service disruptions impacting affordability or access, shows volatility.
Okay, but what about internet users specifically?
Right. Despite that drop in mobile connections, the number of people actually using the internet went up slightly, around 14.6 million individuals. That puts the internet penetration rate at about 28.7%.
So still, the vast majority, over 70%, are offline.
Exactly. That digital divide is still very significant, but the number of users did grow by 1.6% from 2024 to 2025. Slow but steady progress.
And social media, given the focus on Facebook groups and such.
Yeah, social media saw substantial growth, about 3.68 million active social media user identities. That's only about 7.2% of the total population, but that number jumped by 26.3% between early 2024 and 2025, a huge increase.
Wow, so social platforms are really booming, becoming key gateways.
It certainly looked that way. And demographics there, about 27% female users, 73% male. So there's a noticeable gender gap online.
Good to know. Any specific platform standouts?
TikTok is interesting. In early 2025, it had 3.68 million users aged 18 and over. Its potential ad reach was like 13.6% of all adults, but importantly, over 25% of the local internet user base.
So a quarter of internet users are reachable on TikTok.
Roughly, yeah. And its potential ad reach also grew massively, up 26.3% in that same year.
Yeah.
So platforms like TikTok seem to be major growth engines for internet engagement.
That's a fascinating mix. Challenges with overall penetration and mobile connections, but rapid growth in social media use, especially among internet users, a young, mobile-first population. Given all that, what about the quality of the connection? What's the actual user experience like? Is it fast enough for all this video content?
It's evolving.
Yeah.
But there are definitely hurdles. In 2024, 3G coverage was pretty widespread, estimated around 89%. That supports basic internet mobile-first stuff.
Okay.
But 4G, only about 36.5% coverage. So high-speed access is much more limited. Average broadband speed was modest, around 900 to 830 kilobits.
And mobile speeds.
They did improve. In early 2023, median mobile internet speed was up 55% year-on-year, to about 13.4 millips. Fixed internet was slower, around 5 millips, though that was also up 40%.
So improvements, but maybe not blazing fast everywhere.
Exactly. Speeds that can still challenge heavy data use or rich media streaming consistently, and the underlying challenges persist. Inadequate network infrastructure in places, limited electricity, especially rurally, costs being high relative to income.
Right.
And digital literacy is still an issue for parts of the population.
So despite these real obstacles, are there specific efforts happening to try and bridge this gap, to improve things?
Oh, absolutely. There are key initiatives. Things like investing in fiber optic networks, expanding mobile broadband coverage.
Infrastructure?
Right. Plus policies aimed at making access more affordable. Digital skills programs to boost literacy. Encouraging public-private partnerships is also seen as crucial.
And addressing the gender gap you mentioned.
Yes, specific focus on addressing gender disparities in access and use. The main idea is really harnessing mobile tech as the primary driver for digital inclusion.
Makes sense.
And actually, a study looking at Zain, a major telecom company there, from 2015 to 2022, had some interesting findings on what drives subscriptions.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
It found things like more mobile connections overall, more people using the internet generally, higher GDP per capita, and population growth all had a positive impact on their customer numbers, which kind of makes sense, right? Economic growth and more people online means more customers.
Sure. Anything have a negative effect.
Yes. Fixed broadband subscriptions, fixed telephone lines, and inflation.
So people moving away from fixed lines and economic pressure hurts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But interestingly, the study noted the subscriber base bounced back pretty quickly after the hit from South Sudan's independence, partly driven by just the global demand for telecom services in developing nations. Shows resilience.
So the recommendations were probably focused on
improving service quality, extending reach into rural areas, boosting internet speeds for modern apps, and trying to stabilize prices against economic shocks. Basic but critical steps.
That data really grounds the strategies we discussed earlier, a dynamic, challenging, but clearly growing digital environment. Okay, so beyond the numbers, beyond the specific tactics, what about the cultural side? The behavioral nuances, what really defines successful digital marketing in Sudan on a human level.
Yeah.
Because ultimately it's about connecting with people, isn't it?
It's absolutely crucial. This is why those community strategies work so well. First, and maybe most important, people trust people.
Word of mouth again.
Amplified. Peer reviews. Recommendations within those Facebook groups or on WhatsApp, they carry immense weight. Often far more than some polished corporate ad, a friend's recommendation for a product, a trusted community figure's endorsement. That's gold.
Right. What else?
Second, visual content is king. Videos, photo carousels, short reels. They just work way better than blocks of text.
Makes sense with mobile first, maybe varying literacy levels.
Exactly. Visuals are universal, engaging. Third, language really matters. Using Arabic, whether it's the local Sudanese dialect or modern standard Arabic, builds much greater trust and reach locally. Authenticity.
Speaking their language, literally.
Yes. And finally, don't underestimate the offline influence on the online world.
Yeah.
Word-of-mouth conversations, community events, even traditional ad campaigns often drive people to engage digitally. It's not just digital driving offline. It's a loop.
A constant feedback loop between the physical and digital. That's really interesting.
Very powerful.
Okay, so let's try and sum this up. What are the big takeaways here? Sudan's digital marketing scene seems like this incredible case study in adaptability, grassroots innovation.
Definitely.
When the usual tools are limited, creativity just takes over as the core strategy. But are there downsides? Does relying so much on organic community stuff make it hard to scale, maybe? Or hard to measure results accurately?
That's a fair question. And yes, those organic strategies can present challenges for, say, rapid, predictable scaling or the kind of precise measurement you get from data-heavy paid campaigns, no doubt. But I think what this deep dive really shows is something more fundamental, that digital marketing isn't just about the latest tech tools or the biggest budgets.
Right.
It's profoundly alive, and it can be driven by human connection, by relationships, by trust, and by these really ingenious community-first tactics, prioritizing authenticity. And that, I think, is an incredibly powerful lesson.
Often overlooked elsewhere, maybe.
Very possibly. It shows that the core principles of marketing, connection, trust, value can thrive even when the standard digital channels are constrained.
This has been fascinating, a real look at resilience and innovation under unique circumstances. And just so you know, we will be talking more about marketing in Sudan in some upcoming deep dives.
Lots more to explore there.
Definitely. So please let us know in the comments if there's a specific subject within that you'd really like us to tackle next time. And of course, you can check out our other deep dives too. Ask any questions you have.
We appreciate the feedback.
So for you, the learner, maybe the final thought is this. In a world that often feels saturated with digital ads, with hyper-targeting, what can we learn? What can markets that rely so heavily on paid advertising learn from Sudan's more organic, people-driven approach?
Yeah, how do you build that genuine connection?
Exactly. Is there a way to bring more of that authentic, community-centric feel into our own strategies, wherever we are, to build those deeper relationships? Something to think about.